God was going to bring the future, but he had to arrange the set. He had to order the things, the area, the environment where the future was going to dwell.
Have border posts, and they have boundaries, they have guidelines, they have a wall built around about their relationship. That is what order does. Order creates boundaries around your relationship. And order you put into place brings you into a place where you have boundaries. God set Adam and put him in the garden. We bless the name of the Lord. From the rising of the sun to the going down of the same. The name of the Lord is to be praised. Father, thank you for your blessing. Thank you for the opportunity that we have to, Lord, bring out your word again, according to the things that you have taught us. We honor you because someone out there shall be blessed. Thank you, Lord, for this opportunity. Take this opportunity to say, Lord, let every word that shall be spoken, let them be directed by you. Yes. In the glorious name of Jesus Christ.
Amen.
It's a great day, a great opportunity to be with you. Give glory to God for yet another time. I will straightforwardly go into what we have for today. But before then, my name is Dr. Isaac Abbey.
I'm Dr. Ethel Abbey. Good morning.
Thank you for being with us.
Happy New Year to you, my brother.
Thank you for being with us. Oh, we're supposed to say Happy New Year.
Yes.
To everyone, Happy New Year. Happy, happy, happy. Happy New Year. Blessed be the name of the Lord.
Hallelujah.
But come to think of it, the topic we have in front of us this day, it's a little bit, it's not dicey. It's not a dancey kind of topic. But the truth is, we're seriously looking at something that happens on a daily basis that we don't take note of. And that is, we are trying to define or identify the people who have inputs, counseling inputs in our lives. Are you getting me? The people who have counseling inputs into our lives. That some of them have these inputs, you know, some of them have solicited inputs, so to say, and some other ones are unsolicited input. What do we mean by solicited input? Solicited input in the sense that, oh, I have a problem or I have an issue, and officially I come to you to ask for advice. Unsolicited, oh, I have an issue, and in my default mode, the first person I think of calling is you. And when I call you, whatever you have to tell me may form part of my future, or may have a way of influencing my decision about my future concerning whatever I'm talking about. Now in this case, we're looking at the marriage platform. How a little disagreement between I and my spouse. The first person I call is my junior sister. Have you seen what happened? Look at what this guy did. And before you say Jack Robinson, he did that. I think you need some vacation from that point. I think you just need some time away from that place. Not too long ago, we were watching a man of God, right? Well, less than 10 minutes ago, watching a man of God who was always busy, going around the whole world, preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ. When the issues came down, the wife left him and the wife asked for separation. What was the reason for the separation? When you make up your mind to be serious and to want me in your life, you know where to find me. I'll be somewhere else, not in your house. Every time you go out, you come back, you find me here. That's why you think it's the way it is. But what happened? Along the line, it so happened that this man of God innocently was always everywhere, preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Doing the work of God.
Doing the work of God. But in doing the work of God, little did he know that a lot is going on at the home front.
Yes, sir.
You understand me? If the guy is not there, she has to talk to somebody.
Yes, sir.
You are not even too sure who she spoke with that told her, give him a wake-up call. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes,
That's
sir.
the reason we are talking here today.
Yes, sir.
Give him a wake-up call.
Yes, sir.
And what is the wake-up call? Get out of the hole.
That's right.
You understand me? In some part of the world, whatever we are talking about, it's a little bit difficult to access.
Yes, sir.
Now, in the environment where we live in, you understand me? It's a matter of putting one or two things together, and when you have put those things together, you will actually give the person a wake-up call. Now, in some other societies, like in Los Angeles, to give a wake-up call is a matter of linking up with your lawyer to tell the guy, this guy is messing me up. Do you understand me? He doesn't have time for me. He doesn't do this. He doesn't do that. Now, that's the reason we are here today. Question we are asking is, who is counseling you? You understand me? Who is giving you unsolicited advice? Who is that person around your life that you have so much depended on, and yet they have influence into your future? That's the reason we are here today.
Now, talking about who is advising you,
Yes,
who is
please.
counseling you in your relationship, our world has graduated from the time when people will call father, mother, brother, sister, to the time when people will Google, when they even have issues with their spouses.
Yeah.
Some people depend on Facebook.
Of course.
Other ones depend on Instagram. People depend on all kinds of social media platforms.
Look at what I'm
to
going
seek
through.
for
What do you
advice.
think I should do?
Somebody is having a challenge at home. You throw it out there.
You throw it out
and
there.
people have different things to tell you from their different backgrounds.
And they care less how you feel.
They don't feel you.
You ask the question.
They don't feel you.
You will get it.
You are looking for permission. You know,
Mm.
there's a proverb my people used to say. They say when you crack palm kernel, you are inviting chickens.
Chicken.
When you want to pay peanuts, you look for monkeys. Okay. So when you're looking for cheap information and cheap help that can even cost you what you are actually trying to remedy, you can go to anywhere. And anywhere gives you anyhow things, okay? So I discovered there was a lady that needed a counsel about her relationship. For over 1 year, I was watching this lady every day. She was slapping the husband on Facebook. And people thought, okay, maybe she was just talking generally. But because of where I am, I knew where she was coming from. I couldn't stop her because she didn't ask me. I couldn't make comments because it was not my business. I couldn't do anything. If I made a comment, she would know I was trying to get at her, and I didn't want to hurt her. And this continued until all kinds of advices were coming. People were hailing her, go girl.
Go girl.
No, which kind
Do
of
it.
if anybody you
It's
know is going
crazy.
through that, no, that's crazy. How can a man do this? Men are this, and
Who does he think he
everybody
is?
had some contribution or the other. And as I speak, there's no marriage there today. I was not called into it, and I don't make any input. You know, so some people can give you advice unsolicitedly. The advices we give sometimes when I make my post or when he posts is so that we can give somebody a generic advice in case you are about to make a mistake and the Holy Ghost gives us something to say. But you see, we have people around us. Television is there. There are all kinds of programs now on TV, marriage programs, family programs. There are teachers of good things in marriage and there are teachers of evil. People that will teach you when this is not happening,
This is what to do.
They don't tell you human beings are dynamic. What works for me might not work for you, and the things available to you might not be available to me. So they don't take those things into consideration when they give you advice. People give you advice based on what you tell them, but you don't tell them where you're coming from. So people will ask you, how did this happen? Where did this start? And they give you advice. And the advice they give you, some people are actually looking for one single thing they can say, this person told me this. They hold on to it. Their minds are already made up, but they will just throw it and say, somebody like this person told me this, and that is what I'm going to do. And advice in marriage or counseling in marriage is something that we cannot overemphasize. Counsel is what is needed to make the marriage go forward. It's like the glory of marriage. It extends marriage. It's like it furthers marriage. A dying marriage, just like a dying cell phone, can be rebooted to optimize its function. The same way counsel optimizes relationships if it is properly given. I don't know whether I'm still online with what you want to talk about.
I agree with you. I agree with you. It's very interesting. It is interesting because I'm telling myself, a man goes into marriage. Do you know that by the first 3 or 4 years, everything you see that made you go into that marriage, you would have achieved it?
Yes.
There has to be other things, you understand me, that will step in and will prolong the life of that marriage.
Yes.
There has to be other things, other instruments, or other ingredients that will come in, that will determine the future of the marriage. One of them is counsel. You know, it is interesting. It's interesting because I'm looking at our background, I'm looking at how we grew up, and I'm looking at the attitude of the people with which we grew up, their attitude towards counseling. You understand what I mean? Towards counseling. And what looks like what people pay for, what people pay to get in some other parts of the world, you get it very cheaply.
Yeah.
You get it free.
Literally.
You understand me? And yet, a particular fraction of what you get freely is actually good. Are you getting me?
Yes, sir.
Because I'm looking at something now. Oh, in a multitude of counselors, there is safety.
Yes.
There's no doubt about it. Whether we like it or not, there are many counselors in our lives.
Yes.
Some of them, like we said, are solicited counselors. Some of them are unsolicited. The unsolicited ones are the ones I am particular about. Now, the unsolicited counselors, most of the time, because you don't pay for them, you understand me, they come in handy. Yet, a number of those unsolicited ones do a lot of harm. Are you seeing what I mean? A lot of harm to the life cycle of the marriage. This is where I am concerned. A case like that happened between the two of us many years ago. Do you know that innocently we entered into marriage? After we entered into marriage, somebody very close to you said, well, put your eyes in water. You understand me?
Yes, sir.
Which means look very well. The first person said, it is not everything that happens between you.
And if that happens to you,
that happens to you,
then
you tell your spouse. And we were like, the people didn't know where we stand on issues like that. We told ourselves, number one, breaking point. Are you getting me?
Yes, sir.
If you pass this point, you understand me? You are about to step into the next phase of your marriage. You understand what I mean? Now, the person said it casually. Another person said, when you have money to spend, you don't declare all the money you have to your spouse. Your spouse is not even supposed to know everything you have. Did you solicit for it?
No, sir.
It came cheaply. Yet, what came cheaply has access or has capacity to affect your future positively or
negatively.
Are you seeing what I'm talking about?
Yes, sir.
Now, you could see another situation that says, hey, listen, look very well. Don't tell anything about your past to your spouse. What if your spouse discovers? Are you seeing the point? You tell this person things. Do you know that many of the times, half of the people who give you unsolicited counsel, do you know that most of them might not even be in marriage?
Some of them have experienced marriage and their marriages.
Some of them have experienced marriage and their marriages did not work. Now, sometimes you want to put what did not work for you on me.
Yeah.
Are you seeing it?
You see, let's get this clear. Some people give you counsel out of concern.
Yes.
Some people give you counsel out of fear. Some people give you counsel out of worrying that you make the mistakes they make. And they don't take into account your own life as being peculiar. You understand?
There's this thing about the replication of my incidents or what happened to me.
Let's say, as a mother,
yes,
I have daughters. Now, a mother that is not very, what do you call it? It's not sound when it comes to counsel, can put her fears on her daughters in the form of advice. Okay, you're getting married to so and so. Please, don't do this type, or don't listen to him when he says some things like this. You have to know that you are from this family. You have to, because from what happened to me, what happened to you? Who says it's going to happen to me? And if it happens to you, who says I can't manage it?
I cannot manage it.
And if our lives are different, if we have different lives,
the decisions you made that made your marriage to stop. Who told you I want to make such decisions?
And who says that even if I have the same events happen to my own relationship, I can't handle them?
These are the issues.
Now, as a mother, if I choose to counsel my children or advise them from my own fears and my own worries and anxieties and my experiences, it will go a long way to stand against that relationship. Why are we talking about counseling? I have streamed on counseling before.
Yes.
You need counseling, but this is a different aspect of it.
It is.
Now, what we are saying is, marriage needs advice because both of you, a couple in a relationship, have never traveled before in a relationship. Let's say they've just started or they're in the middle of it. You discover that every day it opens new pages. Marriage opens new pages. Every experience, childbearing, getting pregnant, raising the children, schooling, and all that. In fact, some of them getting married. It is new every day. Now, some people that have gone ahead of us might say, look, you don't know what we know concerning marriage. Take this. But what they should give is a kind of advice. But unfortunately, those advices, they stand as blocks. Especially when they are not given in righteousness, when they are not given in the fear of the Lord, when they are not given with
the aim of improving what you have for that marriage, but given it with the aim of damaging the thing.
Okay.
Because of are you seeing it? Okay. Somebody is looking at their past and they are using it to make a suggestion for you, a suggestion for you that will affect your own future. This is where the concern is. Now, what are we even looking at? Number one, everyone concerned with whatever we are talking about, be very, very sensitive to know when an advice is negative. Are you seeing what I mean?
Sir.
Be very, very sensitive to know when an advice is negative. Are you getting me?
Yes, sir.
The advice might look good. The advice might look great. But can you see the end of that advice? What is this gathering towards? Are you getting me? Because a lot of the times, if you meet three people who are divorced at one time or the other, and you keep making them your friend, I'm not saying automatically they will affect your marriage wrongly, but you need to be sensitive. Are you seeing me?
Yes, sir.
Sensitive. Unfortunately, whatever we are talking about is very, very real. Because marriages are breaking today, not because the two people in a relationship don't love each other, but external forces. You understand me? External forces come in, and the interplay of external forces actually break relationships.
They break relationships because if the two people in a relationship do not understand that what they are into is, like I said, a book that is continuing, is an opening book, right? That if I could quarrel with my siblings, if I have sisters and brothers and we quarrel, and sometimes we even get angry, we might not be able to talk with ourselves. Now, I am married to somebody whom I didn't know from Adam, but by the grace of God or by however it happened, we are together in marriage. Now, when we meet the things, that challenges that are bigger than us, there are relational challenges that two people in a relationship may not be able to handle. You see, don't think it's strange. I like what Apostle Peter said. He said, when you fall into diverse kinds of temptations or diverse kinds of troubles, don't think it is strange. It is strange to you because you're just experiencing it. But it is a common thing that happens to couples. So, but the enemy will want you to look at it as if it is strange. This has never happened before. Nothing is new under the sun that is happening in a relationship. So, when you come in contact with those things that are challenging even your very existence as a couple, it's not important for you to, it's very important for you to know who you talk to about it. Because the things you do at that time are sensitive. Some people can be raised by Satan to break the marriage at that time. Some people will innocently, out of concern, give you an advice that will not help you at that time to make right decisions. While some other people, by the grace of God, will give you the advice that will help you go further in your relationship. So, what are we trying to say today? We're saying marriage has challenges.
That is where
there are obstacles in marriage. There are challenges in marriage. No marriage is made in heaven. Marriage is a work that is supposed to be worked on earth. And the people working in it must be equipped to work in it.
Are you saying that every marriage has a challenge?
Every marriage, including mine and yours.
There is no marriage under heaven
that
is free of challenge.
Yes, sir.
There is no marriage under the sun that is free of challenge.
Yes.
The issue is when the challenges come,
who is advising you? Because the challenges seek for advice. The challenges will make you, they will expose you to wanting to look for help.
Exactly.
To wanting to look, exactly. The challenges will make you vulnerable and put you in a position where you need somebody to talk to you. And Eve had a challenge in the garden. God told us not to eat this fruit. And the challenge was, who will explain to me these two trees, they look alike? Tree of knowledge of good and evil and tree of life. Who will help me here? Because Adam was not talking to her, Satan saw the gap and came and filled it. Eat this one.
Eat this one.
So the same thing happens in relationships today. When you have a challenge and you're not talking with your spouse about it, or when you talk, it causes more problem, you need somebody to talk to you. If you don't get the right person, Satan will get into your midst and mess up what you have. So when you are in a relationship, like all of us are in a relationship, and there is a challenge, be careful who you allow into that space. If you don't have anybody yet, don't talk about it, just go to God. After you've spoken to God, allow yourself to be open to whom God will bring into your life. It is not the time to talk to family, because family will always give you advice from their own interests.
Is that what?
Yes.
Every family, the disposition
is to protect their own. Yeah.
Even when their own is wrong, you will hear words like, it's family. Family means protect yours, whether positive or negative. Whether right or wrong, whether they are doing the right things or they are not, whether your own has done what is right or they have not. Just make sure you protect your own. I saw two people who love themselves right in front of me like this. Two people who love themselves. Do you know that families broke them and set them apart? Why? Because every time they have a challenge and they have an issue, nobody sees the challenges from a neutral point.
And they don't give you the particular weight that it's assigned to it.
The family of the lady sees the man like
the devil.
He's just an idiot. I don't even know how you got this guy. You know, to the point where they start abusing the man in front of her. How will that marriage go far? Are you seeing it?
Yes, sir.
The family of the man too will feel this one is our own, and we cannot continue to say things, because when your daughter goes wrong, we must tell her that she has gone wrong, and even when there's nothing to say, they are still looking for something to say, because theirs must be protected. Where are we going with all of this? We have been able to tell ourselves that the time has come like never before, when people will begin to look for professional advice, professional counsel. And in fact, that is even another crazy one. Are you getting me? Going to look for professional counsel, you better look in the right direction.
Okay. Please, remember, the reason why we stream on Saturdays is to see how we can help solve some of the problems, not all,
Not all.
some of the problems that we encounter in marriage and family life as God gives us grace. Now, we have discovered that all over the world, marriages are breaking,
Yeah.
left, right, and center. And it's not breaking because God has made a mistake in putting a man and a woman together. It's not, marriages are not breaking because there is something wrong with marriage. But it's just that the way marriage is being administered is wrong.
There are
So there are sensitive issues that are not being addressed. Now,
that we take lightly, it looks like nothing.
Yeah.
Yet they are the points from where these things happen.
yes, sir. So, going forward, the reason for this talk today is that we have found out that, yes, people are seeking counsel. People are beginning to look for advice from family, friends, pastors, and what do you call them, psychologists and all that, and counselors also. But it's not everybody that puts a signboard out there, I'm a counselor, that is a
That's
counselor.
actually a counselor.
Please don't go to a counselor that has no testimony. What do I mean by testimony? You're not going to say, okay, I'm looking for who has a testimony. Okay, how do I know your testimony? Tell me your testimony. No. Don't go to a place that you have not been referred to by somebody who has had solid experience.
I mean, successful
experience.
Exactly.
Now, what they call success is also what they call it is subjective. What do I mean by subjective? It is peculiar to me. I might look for a counselor to counsel me to divorce my husband, and I successfully got divorced.
Yeah.
I am not saying that kind of counsel. I don't know if you get
Let me
me.
even say something.
Yeah.
Did you remember one particular couple like that? The lady walked up to us, and the lady said,
Tell me the reason.
give me one reason why
I should divorce.
I should not divorce this guy. She stated all the things that the guy did. In actual sense, she was justified to put that guy away.
Yeah.
That is, I mean,
Facts.
on a normal day, if you meet a wrong person, are you getting it? If she met another kind of person, the marriage would have been good. She said, all I want is, I just want to set this marriage aside. Do you understand me?
Yeah.
Is it on the ground of adultery, infidelity, all kinds of things? She was right. She was even justified. But is that enough? Are you getting me?
Yes, sir.
We looked at the lady in front of us. Yes, right now you are looking for a justification to put your marriage aside. What happens to you in the next 5 years? Are you getting me? Can you see yourself in the next 10 years? And that became a very, very serious issue.
No, but thank God that today the woman is still living with her husband. I think
She
that
is.
happened in 2012.
12, yeah.
But till today they are still living together.
They're still together.
But imagine, I know that like you said, the story the woman brought were enough. They were enough. She had enough grounds.
Mind-blowing
But
stories.
you know what we told her? If it will interest you to hear that people that are looking for divorce don't go to counselors.
Exactly.
If you are a counselor and anybody approaches you and say, I want to divorce my husband, they are lying. Because from experience, people that want to divorce their husbands or their wives, they go to the lawyers.
They know where to go.
They don't come to counselors. So if you as a counselor is approached by somebody in need of counsel, first thing you must assure yourself of is that 100% this person is not looking for divorce. This person is looking for peace. Is
So
looking
how
for
do I
reconciliation.
remedy what they have?
So look for ways of remedying, or look for ways from the hand of God or from your own experience on how to handle that relationship so that it doesn't break. Because anybody that comes to a counselor knows that this counselor can help me. Now, if you don't know a counselor when you have a problem, that is where I'm coming from now. Don't just jump into the next flagship of a counseling office and say, please counsel me. Because some counselors we know have destroyed marriages more than reconciling spouses at conflict. Some people don't know how to handle conflict. They might have had 1 or 2 or 3 successes, but that does not make them counselors. A counselor must be, first of all, raised by God, must be compassionate, must have empathy, must be neutral, and must know how to go into the presence of the counselor, which is the Holy Ghost, to be able to bring sound counsel. Now, If you have a problem that needs counsel, counsel will not come to you from family. Even when we train counselors, we tell counselors don't counsel family and friends, because first of all, you are conflicted. Secondly, you will have what they call ulterior motive, and your family might not even trust you that you're telling them the truth. So we advise not to counsel family. And counsel is so important. Listen, you can't do without counsel in marriage. I have always said nobody is a private custodian of information. We ourselves, we know our counselor. We ourselves, we have our own counselor. And when we need counsel, we go to our counselor. Who do you go to? Our counselor is not a psychologist. It's not a human being who will say, oh Lord, this one is just God. He knows everything. No. The Holy Ghost, first of all, is the counselor. The second counselor is the Word of God. You look into the Word of God. You look to the living God, our Father in heaven. He will give you counsel. If you're not able to reach them, then look for somebody who is a counselor. Listen, every pastor is not a counselor. Just like every doctor is not a surgeon. I'm not trying to spoil pastors' work. I am not trying to spoil anybody's work, but I'm saying that every pastor is not a counselor. We have trained a pastor in counseling, a 72-year-old man, and the man told us, for 16 years, I have a daughter in the faith who has been having problems in her marriage. And every time the girl comes, both of us will kneel down and begin to cry to God. Oh God, please preserve my daughter's marriage. The old man was crying in the counseling table, saying, how have we handled counsel? Counsel is something that God, when He needs to give it to you, you have to get it clear. You either get it directly from Him, His word, or the Holy Ghost, or you get it from a man in whose mouth He has put the word, or a woman in whose mouth He has put the word. You can't get counsel from the tree. I said last week, Cornelius did good things, but when it came to salvation, the Holy Ghost said, go and send for Peter. When it comes to counsel, God raised counselors on the face of the earth. There must be somebody you can talk to. The advice that your mother and your father give you, they are very good advice, but they are not counsel. Good advice is different from counsel, and that leads me to define today again, like I did the other time, what counsel is. Counsel is not good advice. Counsel is God's own mind concerning a situation, God's own sight, God's own take on a matter,
irrespective of how I feel,
how you feel,
my emotions, my disposition.
I like it,
whether I like it or not. It's
what
not important.
God thinks, what God says, and if you get counsel
and the willingness to accept what God has to say concerning a particular issue,
that's it,
and not what you think
God should say. You know, because some of us go to counsel trying to tell counselors what to say or what you want to hear. But a true counselor will not tell you what you really want to hear. But God help you if what you want to hear is what the counselor tells you. That means that is you're on the right side of God. But if it's not what you want to hear, counsel is for obeying. Counsel is like medication. You go to the doctor prescribes medication, you take it. If you don't take the medication and put it on top of your fridge or in the shelf, and you think, okay, I have this medication, I'll be fine. You won't be fine. Counsel is for doing. Once you receive it, it is for doing.
Can we even say that?
Yes, sir.
Whether we like it or not, we cannot do without counsel.
In marriage.
I like that. We cannot do without counsel
in marriage.
There have been too many shocks. You understand me? In the recent that we are seeing from particular generation that is older than us. Do you understand me? You will leave your wife at home. Before you come back, she leaves you a note. You understand me? With the lawyer's document saying that, listen, as far as this marriage is concerned, meet me at so place on so date. Let's speak to my lawyer for a deposition on, you know. And then the man is like, but I've been struggling and have been laboring for this family. Everything I've been doing is because of you. So where did I miss it now? The man is opening his hands saying, I don't know where my fault is in the middle of this. The woman is saying, you don't know where your fault is. When you get to the lawyer, you will know where your fault is. All this has to do with neglect of the woman.
That has to do with neglect of counsel.
Counsel also.
You see, people shouldn't even go to court. I mean, to divorce if they took the necessary steps or they took the necessary options that God gives us in the scriptures. If you understand God's intention about marriage, divorce courts should never be the last resort.
It's not supposed
It should
to
never be the result. But because people are not talking, one, they have refused to seek advice. You know, some people are so ashamed to discuss their problem until it is put in the marketplace.
Yeah.
What do I mean? Some people will never attend any marriage seminar because my marriage doesn't have a problem. Your marriage is not having a problem. What of your spouse? Now, what about your children? You don't have a problem in your relationship and you think everything is fine. What about your in-laws? We're going to be talking about in-laws very soon and how to handle in-laws. When it comes to the issue of marriage, that is a very sensitive area. Your marriage is not having a problem, thank God, to you. Have you asked your wife or your husband, is this marriage okay with you? Why did we say you can get counsel anytime? It's not because your marriage is having problem. People don't have to fall sick before they go to see the doctor. Some people go to check up. I discovered that, we used to always talk. Suddenly we're not talking. My husband is always on his phone. My wife is always with her phone. And I don't even know the friends, she's always chatting. You know, my wife will wake up from the bed and go and be chatting at midnight. And my husband will go to the toilet and be talking on the phone. Honey, it's affecting me. No, he says it's nothing. But it's affecting you. You can seek counsel. You don't have to wait until one day you stumble across his phone and then you see one conversation that gets you upset. And you say, I've had it. I've had it. I'm not going to be in this relationship anymore. No. You can seek counsel for little things. Because the things that break relationships most of the time are not big things. Big things don't... cheating doesn't break marriages. When you wake up one day and discover that your spouse has cheated, they can always bring you back. But there are little things that you say, I've had it. You have, every time those little things happen, you give them space. You think about them. You give them space until they have settled and they have a root. And then you leave them there, forgetting they are grown. Then the next thing, that same thing happens, it is like watering that thing. And you're taking care of it, but you're not addressing it. So one day the thing brings a harvest and you don't know where it is coming from. You're looking at the fruit of what you have been watering and you cannot say where it happened because you didn't seek counsel. You thought you could handle it. You thought you could manage it, but you were feeding those things. We are saying these things because we know that God has not made a mistake in marriage. Don't let the devil deceive you. When people these days say marriage is a dangerous zone to go, don't try to go there because it will hurt you. It's hurting people because people are not handling it well. I don't know whether I'm still on point.
As you're talking, I'm just looking at myself. Because the Bible said in Proverbs 11:14, where there is no counsel, the people fall. Look at my reputation. Look at who I am in the society.
I'm a minister.
I am probably a minister of God or of some sort. Tell me that all of a sudden I have lost the potency of my manhood. Are you getting me?
Yes, sir.
And then I should go
for counsel.
And look for help.
From who?
From a man of God. Do you know that there are people suffering under such untold hardship that they cannot, because of their reputation, they cannot step out to look for counsel. Yet, where there is no counsel, the people fall. The fact that he's not going for counsel, he rubs it on every other thing he does. He messes people up around him. His disposition to people is like, what? Don't come too close. I don't want to see anything. You know that empathy, you know that compassion, that love is no longer there. So what? Because of what he's going through. He's going through things inside and he's not talking.
He can't discuss it.
He can't discuss it. There are many people like that. Guys, go and look for help. Go and look for help. Forget about your reputation. Forget about what you have. What is the essence of your reputation when you can sit for a very small thing that you can easily look for help for and put your life back on track? But you will leave it, you will keep it and be covering it until the thing decays inside.
Okay, did you remember the man of somebody? Sorry, I don't like talking about pastors anyways. There is this person who is in a position of ministry, who was a minister over somebody. And incidentally, 2 members of his ministry got into a relationship. And I think the essence was like, this guy is not married. He's not a young person. He's not married. And maybe he was looking at getting into marrying this other lady, and another guy has actually proposed, and they were going into serious relationship. And when they had an issue, I think they told him we were in a relationship. Said, okay, yeah, God bless you. And when they had a challenge, the counsel that was given to both the lady and the young man made that relationship not to stand till tomorrow. The counsel was, excuse me, young man, this lady is saying some things, and I think we should pray about it. No, that was to the young lady. And to the young man, he says, this lady cannot forgive you, and that's why you can never make progress. Because once a lady is crying to God, the challenges you're having in your business and in your everything, every area of life is associated with that. You know what the young man did? The young man developed hatred instantly for the lady. How could you hate me this much? And you are reporting me to God, you are not releasing. And the guy said, I'd rather die than to marry this lady. Because of the counsel that somebody who they trusted gave them.
So a wrong seed.
The counsel became a mighty rock that the 2 of them could not cross. So what we do, what we are doing as ministers, apart from this one, we still give account. Now that couple, the guy moved on, the lady is still somewhere, and is broken. I am asking, why do we do what we do? Some pastors will never allow certain pastors on their pulpit because
they are afraid.
When the minister comes and speaks under the influence of the Holy Ghost, half of the church knows pastor is going through this. So he would rather close the gate. I know of a particular church that the marriages were breaking left, right, and center. The leaders of the youth and men's fellowship organized counseling, marriage retreat with a counselor. The counselor counseled them to watch blue films with their spouses. In a matter of weeks, 5 of them are falling into adultery with house girl and cousins in their house. Please, this is very serious. I'm not joking this time. This is very serious. Pastors, I can't counsel you. Tell your people to seek counsel. Let's stop lying to them and praying. The world is challenging us. They are calling us fools. People are calling the church pastors liars. I am not pastoring anybody. People come to us, we counsel them, we tell them to go back. They go to their churches.
To your church.
Counseling is not an evangelistic tool.
No.
Some people, pastors think that when they send their sick marriages, couples to you, you will convert them to be your members. No, if you don't want them to be my members, teach them the word of God, set them free, and let them hear the Lord for themselves.
You don't want them to be your members?
No.
When they get truth, they will leave you and they will walk away.
No, then if you don't want them to walk away, give them the truth.
Give them the truth.
If you don't want people in your church to run away from you, teach them the truth. As counselors, I can see somebody here that we've trained as a counselor. We never told her, leave your church and be a member of our church. We tell people, listen, get to the root of this problem, take the Holy Ghost as your counselor, yourself as a counselor, and then do the work of God where you are. Stop being afraid, pastors, and destroying marriages. Many marriages in churches are breaking down because we're not telling them the truth. Let's tell the people to look for counsel.
Because we're afraid.
Listen.
Okay. Let's not go too far. Ask me why we shouldn't go too far. What if I am the one who is a pastor and I'm the one interested in the lady?
Tell the lady.
And somebody else is going out with the lady. Are you seeing my problem?
You have lost her, simply.
I can't tell the truth.
Okay.
Are you seeing it?
I hear you.
I like the lady. I've not told her my intentions. She has somebody else in her life. And I'm hiring her as if you know, how should, and she comes to me for counsel. Are you seeing it?
My Father.
She comes to me for counsel.
Oh God.
What is my disposition towards that lady?
A counselor.
How dispassionate am I to such a person?
But you, being a counselor, you will still be honest with God.
For
Because
God's
you
sake.
know, you have to account to God what you told the
The
person.
lady,
And you know that in the midst of that
you
counseling,
are about
the
to
Lord is
affect
there.
that life wrongly.
So any error you make is going to tilt that lady forever. And you're not going to be able to carry that conscience before God.
We're telling the people now that they can't do without counsel. But when they come to you for counsel,
Don't mess them up.
you better be ready.
Please don't mess them up.
You
If,
better be ready.
Babs,
Yeah.
if you're a pastor, you need to know how to counsel.
Yeah.
And you're not trained as a counselor, go to a counseling school. Come, we go for all kinds of schools. Some people are even, I hear a minister on the pulpit, you know, I'm now a postgraduate student in administration. What are you talking about? I am doing postgraduate studies in sociology.
He regards that
Certificate.
student
Yeah.
more than
The anointing on his
So
head.
why he calls himself an apostle?
What kind of apostle are you? Get the tools that will help you do the apostolic work nicely. If people always come to you for advice, and you know that what you tell them influences them, get some kind of training. Get some kind of, what do they call it? Equipment.
Yeah.
So that you don't destroy people's marriage. Do you know, I say today, and I will still repeat it all the days of my life to anybody that cares to listen, that counseling is more delicate than than surgery. Ask me why I said that. A surgeon can make a mistake and you die, and you go to heaven because they tampered with your body. But once a counselor,
He can even make a
gives you-
mistake and they will correct.
they can correct it.
It's correct.
But when a counselor, tells you and gives you a counsel that is erroneous, it will take you another second,
God have mercy.
if God shows you mercy, to be able to get out of that counsel. Counseling is so delicate that when you go to counsel, you literally open your heart. You open your secrets, the things you cannot tell anybody. You tell a counselor. If you tell whether you tell a doctor or not, you open your nakedness or not. If the doctor needs to examine you, he will naked you. But a counselor will make sure he gets to the root of what is happening to you. Sometimes you have to even tell the stories that you never want to tell because you need to get help. And so if that counselor, knowing that, gives you a wrong counsel, how can you be helped? So counseling is delicate. It's not something people should jump into and say, I'm a counselor because I've been a minister all these years. I'm a counselor because from my experience in life, what worked for my mother's generation cannot work for me and my husband. What worked for me and my husband may not work for our children or their children's children. So what do we need? Update yourselves. Let's keep updating ourselves as ministers.
Equip yourself. Go to school. You can't be too old. This is not about money. This is not about name. This is not about I have goodwill. I have made a name. Guys, go to school. I discovered that somewhere along the line, even the pastoral profession is like law. You can't do without reading.
Yes, sir.
You cannot do without
Keep
studying.
studying.
You have to keep updating yourself and keep getting better. Do you know why? Every living day, you don't even know the next thing that people will bring to you. In terms of, do you know the Bible says where there is no plan, where there is no counsel, plans go hurry. Are you seeing it?
Yes.
Where there is no counsel, a man's plan will be disappointed. Why do people get disappointed? Because there is no adequate counsel.
Yes, sir.
It's Proverbs chapter 15, right? Yeah, 15, verse 22. He said, without counsel, plans go hurry. But in the multitude of counselors, they are established. What is established? Plans are established.
So that means that when you make your plans,
When somebody makes a plan and they
Seek
bring it
counsel.
to you, what are they getting from you? What are you giving to them? Are you seeing what I'm
Yes,
saying?
sir.
It is one thing.
Kenny.
It is one thing for a person to have a plan
Okay.
and not know what to say. Are you getting me?
Yes, sir.
It is one thing for somebody to have a plan and not know what to do. Two things we're talking about here. the person who makes a plan must look for counsel.
Yes, sir.
So that he will not be disappointed
Yes,
as
sir.
he's going forward. Then the person to whom they come to meet, for counsel, you understand me? Are you also prepared to receive such plan? Are you prepared
Are you equipped
to put such plans
to
into
action?
process
Yes, sir.
in order for the person to run, and the person will run safely? Are you getting me? Because
Yes, sir.
he said, in the multitude of counselors, they are
Yes,
established.
yes, sir.
A man's plan needs to be established, and he comes to you for you. He comes to seek you for counsel.
Counsel.
What is he getting from you?
Nothing.
Are you a damager of people's plans, or you are somebody who sees somebody else's plan and you bring in?
You even steal it.
You use your own self to put it under.
And when the person turns back, you implement it.
I want to say something.
Yes, sir.
Are you the type of person who calls for people's plans with the aim of using it?
I've seen that in my life.
With the aim of using it, and yet the person is smiling to you. Oh, sir, give me the proposal. Send the proposal to me. When they send the proposal to you, what happens?
It doesn't come out.
You end up using
You don't even
whatever
mention
is
it.
there.
Uh-huh.
You end up using what is there. How far can you go like that? Because if you use it and the guy takes you up, how far can you go?
Yes, sir.
That's why we said both the person who is making the plan and the person, needs counsel.
Yes, sir.
And the person to whom the plan, you understand, they go to for the plan, both of them should know what they are doing. The man who has put a plan into place must seek counsel.
Yes, sir.
The person also to whom they come for counsel must be equipped
Yes, sir.
so that things can be established. Are you getting what I'm saying?
So
when people are sure of themselves,
Yes, sir.
you are not afraid at all. We are talking here about a serious gap,
In the church.
not only in the church, in many ways, in many areas. Do you understand me?
Yes, sir.
People in the church would prefer to go outside
And look for a
and
psychologist.
look for a psychologist in
Who
order
has
for
the
their
plan?
plans to work.
For God's sake.
No, apart from even the marriage, this thing. You understand me? He's already in marriage. Now he's thinking, how do I make my life to work? He puts the plan into place and he cannot rely on the pastor. You understand me? Okay. Is that your plan? We'll pray over it.
Come on.
Is that what the guy is saying?
Come on.
What input do you have to that thing? What meaningful input?
Can I say something?
Yes, please.
I think Dr. Steve Organ citing
Yeah.
Washington the other time said that said that over 85% of the work done in the church is domestic related, is counseling related. That people don't come to you to ask you in church, oh please, how do I become a good engineer? People don't tell you, oh, at my workplace, I'm suffering. How do I handle this and this? They come to ask you, my children are not paid, they are not going to church. I don't know, I don't understand what is happening with my husband or my wife. My marriage is doing it. Many of the problems we have in church today are family related. And how many of us ministers have taken out time? I remember when it was time for us to go and do PhD. Both of us have MBA. You have MBA in finance, I have MBA in marketing. I could have gone to do my PhD in marketing. You could have done your PhD in maybe in finance or banking. But we chose to do, our PhDs are related to the call that we have. I did work-life balance, and you did your relationship, and interpersonal relationships, and in leadership studies. And that was because we are looking for the ways that we can improve on what God gave us.
Yeah.
You see, God gives people gifts. He gives people talents. He gives people this, they call them talents, right? Now, He gives you the talent. He expects you to polish the talent to make it more productive. And that is why He gave me nails. I can decide to add additional nail, or cut the nail, or trim it, or pedicure, manicure it, or do whatever I want. My hair, I can decide to pack it, I can decide to frill it, I can decide to do whatever. You can decide to cut your hair, whatever, because you have to add value.
Okay.
Then you have a talent, you have a gift, you have something that God has given to you that you should use to help others. Something you will give account of after now, in the day, in the year, in the eternal, in eternity. And you have not touched it. You just assume you can manage people. You can manage people like that. Make an improvement, add a value to what God has given to you, and use it to bless humanity. Those of us, like we ask, who is your counselor? Those of us that people always come to say, please, I don't understand what is happening to me. I need counsel. Every time. And you discover that people always come to you and they take your advice seriously. Look for a way of improving that thing. Maybe that is what will take care of you in your life.
In fact, maybe that is the path to your greatness.
And maybe that was what you're called to do on the earth. Look for how to improve on it. Don't just keep it down and say, okay, people always come to me for advice, so I just tell them one thing I know. What if that is what God gave you to help to use to help humanity on the face of the earth, and you didn't improve on it?
Improve it.
So what do?
Improve on it.
Yes,
improve on it.
Yes, sir.
Do something with what you have.
Thank you, sir.
Stop giving advice arbitrarily.
And then stop taking
advice anyhow.
Because advices make or mar relationship.
You're right.
Advices make or mar relationship. Adam and Eve lost the garden or the advice of the devil.
Yes.
That is the counsel of Satan, the counsel of the snake. So advices, whether you solicited for them or you did not solicit for them, make or mar relationships. They add value either negatively or positively. So who you seek when you have a need in your life, in your marriage, in anything you want to do is very important. Don't take wayside counsel. It will give you wayside results. Don't take counsels that you cannot say, okay, the person that gave me this counsel has this integrity. I know this person is not a trained counselor, but this person's marriage is standing, the children are in the Lord, and the people that stay around them, they are flourishing, the people are balanced. Therefore, at least I can take some of their counsel seriously. And when you're giving counsel, please don't just swallow everything hook, like, and stinker. Present it to God. Father, this person told me this and this and this. Please help me. I need to do something. Is this what I'm supposed to do? God can easily come back to you on those things. Let your counseling outcomes, the advice you receive from people, let it become prayer points for you. Take them back to God and say, God, thank you, I received this, but if I have found favor in your sight as I do this, bless it. It's just like medication. When you take your medication, Lord, it is you that gives power for these things to work. Please let this work for me. And if it's not going to work, Lord, I need you to help me, advise me further on what to do.
We will not undermention the position of families in counseling that we're doing.
Yes.
We cannot say, we don't want to say that what families are doing is totally wrong. No. There are families that enter genuinely into counseling and they do it very, very well.
Yes, sir.
That is commendable.
Yeah.
But the truth about it is that we have also seen counseling situations where the family cannot do much. You understand me?
Yes.
Which means every time the people come in contact with counseling situations, families come in contact with counseling situations, they should do their best to make sure they tell themselves, is this a situation or is this a case that we can handle, or is this a case that demands professional advice?
Yes, sir.
Are you getting me?
Yes, sir.
They should be quick to know where their whatever stops and where somebody who is professional can take it up from there. Many, many marriages would have failed today if not that God sent help, the right kind of help. You understand me?
Yes, sir.
Did you know, I remember a couple like that. Today they are still together. Many, many years ago, family stepped in. What even happened? It was one of the family members that messed up the situation,
yes,
but nobody was willing to address the matter.
Yes,
how can a mother-in-law slap the daughter-in-law? Do you understand me? And after slapping the daughter-in-law, people were supposed to address the matter. They were beating about the bush. They couldn't face it headlong. What did we get out of this? We had to come up with very, very firm position to say, look, it is not like this. This is what to do. This is how to go about it. And this is the right thing to do.
Yes,
the Lord will bless us. The truth about it is, be open. Be quick to look for help. We are living in the age of help. But everything that is around you does not suggest that kind of help that you need.
Yes, sir.
Look for genuine help where that help is available.
Yes, sir.
The Lord help your life.
Amen.
Thanks for being part of us. Okay?
Yeah, before we round off,
yes.
We'll knock off. The summary of everything we've said today is,
though
we have gone there and here and there, we need people to appraise the use of the counseling tool. Counsel is important. Counsel will help bring back your marriage from the place that it is struggling. Counsel is a rebooting tool, just like you reboot your phone to optimize its function. Counsel will reboot your marriage. But what is important here is not as much the counsel as the source of your counsel. Counsel is not good advice. If you get counsel from a man or a woman who is not trained to be a counselor, they have just given you good advice. Some of them are trained to be counselors. They don't still know the counsel of God. They have not given you counsel. They give you good advice. Counsel is God's mind about what you're going through. And God is willing to give it to you if you're willing to receive it. So when you get counsel, don't play with counsel. Don't joke with it. Don't also look for it from the hands of family and friends. Especially friends. You don't know your friend's heart. I'm not saying friends are evil. No. Everybody needs friends from time to time. But when your friends are not abreast of the totality of the things happening, be honest to tell yourself, my friends can handle this. I have like a marriage that broke down in Cape Town. The lady till tomorrow is lamenting. My friends told me, good girl, he cheated you. Why do you have to stay with him? Leave him. And now when she left him, she is living with the consequences of leaving him. And she keeps crying, I could have sorted it out.
Where are my friends?
Where are the friends? They've all married. There is a case in our hand where a lady says, I can't leave my friends for my husband or somebody that wants to be serious with me. And I'm saying, are you going to live with your friends? These friends, when husbands come, they will go and they will leave you. So if you get counsel from your friends, please weigh it properly. Don't just take it because your friends told you. Don't use what friends say.
Friends that are not married.
You see, you know why? Whether they are married or not, marriage is a spiritual thing. Marriage is not a physical thing. Marriage is spiritual because it's not just about body touching body. It is about heart connecting to heart. And only God knows how to manage those hearts. If you give him that place and say, God, please give us counsel, and he knows you're not hearing him, he will push you into somebody who will give you counsel. He will push resources into your hand. I remember when I gave my life to Christ newly, I was looking for how to grow. All I did every day was I used to pray, Lord, whatever you're teaching me today, give me materials. I will go out, people were giving me books. People were giving me ministrations, tapes, CDs those days that I would listen to, and I was increasing and I was improving my life based on those ministrations. God can put materials into your hand. There are many people who are putting materials out on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube that can help you. Look around, search for information. Above all, if you have access to grounded and God-fearing counselors, please don't hesitate to contact them. I know that one of the things people fear about counseling is that my secret will be out in the open and my counselor may tell people around me. Any counselor that does that is not a counselor. First of all, that no counselor will do it. Nobody in this profession of counseling, nobody that is called of God to be a counselor will divulge any single thing you tell them in counsel to anybody. So please don't be afraid to go for counseling. Don't be afraid to seek counsel when you need it. Don't be afraid to even appraise the standing or the status of your relationship through the instrument of counseling. The Lord our God, who is faithful, who is the counselor himself, will not let you down. God bless you. Have a wonderful year ahead.
Whether you like it or not, can we say this? Challenges in marriage is real. Challenges are real as far as marriage is concerned. Our joy is this: there is no challenge that you face that someone has not faced before. And there is no challenge that you are facing now that is new. The joy of it all is, at a collective point, someone is out there sent to you to help you to sort out your challenges. Go look for help. Go look for counsel. Where there is no counsel, the people fall. In the multitude of counselors, there's always safety.
Yes.
The Lord bless your life.
Amen.
A great year ahead for you.
Amen.
Thank you very much. Thank you for being part of this program. Thank you for everyone who is watching. Thank you for everyone who is spending their time. We appreciate you all. The Lord bless you richly. In Jesus' precious name.
Amen.
Amen.